Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Factorio. My name, of course, is Open Potato, and the first thing you're probably noticing is, wow, this video is going fast. Like, wow, suddenly your videos have stopped being boring and they're actually traveling at a decent pace. No, they're still gonna be they're still gonna be boring. Don't you worry. But effectively, I recorded this this episode, and I wanted to make sure that I set up the green flask production, and so that is exactly what I'm going to do, or at least I'm going to try and do in this episode. But of course, I know I do it because it's pre-recorded. This is a post commentary. Yeah, pretty much. So effectively, all we were doing there is we were taking iron off the main bus and bringing it down so that transport belt can be made. Now, in this mod, transport belt is made using stone gears and iron plates. So, it sort of gives a use to stone, which is nice to see, actually, because we don't usually see an actual use for stone in the basic game. And now I'm effectively filling in just all the random stuff with the use of landfill. Landfill effectively gets rid of water, which is pretty awesome, actually. So that gives us a little bit of extra space, and now of course we're going to need to set up a basic inserter sort of manufacturing area, because the other component of green flasks is the basic inserter. So we'll need to set something up for that. Obviously, the basic inserter requires a couple of parts. Most notably, however, it requires basic circuits, and the basic circuits are something that are really difficult to do because they actually require wood, which means that effectively we're going to need to get all our wood from a replicator, because if we don't, then we'll have to go out and manually get tons and tons of wood to feed the factory. Obviously, another component of basic inserters are the iron gears. That's pretty standard. We don't really care about that. That's fine. But yeah, an important part of this factory was its ability to be scalable. That was really, really important. So after I'd sort of built this all up, I decided that no, maybe this wasn't really the best. I mean, two gear factories, or two iron gear factories, whatever, wouldn't really be enough for my demands. So at the end, I think I do go back and change that around a bit. And I also ended up changing this entire layout. I don't know why I ever thought this would be a good idea, but yeah, I did change that. I mean, here you can see me sort of having a wee think about what would be good and what would be not good, and I decided that, you know what, I want to make sure that this factory can grow, we can extend it, we can up the production of inserters if we need to. If we ever need to, we can do that at just the click of a button. So these are all factories that are lying in wait, potentially. If they ever need to be called into action, then, you know, they will be, and that's fair enough. But something else that I didn't mention, if you can see on the very leftmost iron belt, we did actually use a brand new part, and that was to hold back the iron on one side of the belt. Effectively, I used that because we want to get iron gears coming down the other side of the belt. So I thought, you know what, we can utilize the same belt. We don't need to have a silly setup that has a long armed inserter. We can just have you know, basic inserters, basic normal inserters, whatever, and it'll work. It'll work just the same, because we should have enough iron and gears on the belt, because they have a ratio of 1 to 1. So for every gear going in, we have an iron plate going in. So I figured it's gonna work, and you know what, for the most part I think it has. But you know, you can be the judge of that after this entire area is set up. But yeah, this entire thing was a bit tedious. I mean, this is obviously running at about two or three times speed, perhaps 2.5 times speed, probably something like that. I don't really know. It did used to be slightly longer, the episode. It used to be about 30 minutes, but I've compressed it down to 15 minutes for your viewing pleasure, hopefully. But anyway, this is just me going along and picking up some more stone, because we need a lot of stone to manufacture a lot of landfills. And yeah, I think I've fallen in love with the landfills. The landfills are probably one of my favorite parts of this mod, or of this mod pack, because it allows you so much flexibility to really do what you want to do with the environment, and you can sort of sculpt it in the way that you want to. I think there's also boats in this mod pack. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, because I'm definitely looking forward to exploring some water stuff. Yeah, probably. Yeah, okay, so now we're going to need copper, obviously, to make the copper wire that will go into being part of the basic circuit board, I think. And that was actually really interesting there. We did actually use a big ass long underground belt, and now this is one of the parts of the build that I am very proud of, because if you'll look, then the space that we actually fit all the components needed to make basic circuits into is actually remarkable, and I'm very proud of it. I mean, if you'll have a look at this, we've got all the components that you need to actually make a basic circuit board in a very tight little arrangement, and that I think is really cool. I mean, you might not, but I do, and yeah, I think that's cool. Now, something you'll notice is that we don't actually buffer the output of the basic circuit board, and that is something that I think I probably go back and change. I can't really remember if I go back and change it, but I do. And obviously, throughout this episode, I haven't been researching anything. I've just purely been concentrating on actually just getting these green science flasks, done. That is the #1 priority. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way that looks. It's like a little pier out into the lake, and I think it looks really good. Obviously, yeah, as I've already said, the only way that we can actually get wood consistently without going to mine it up ourselves is to use a replicator. So that's what we're gonna do. People might think that they're overpowered. I, for one, think that they are. I suppose they are very powerful, but at the same time, they do have the drawback, as in they are quite power hungry. So I suppose that's not really something that that bothers me too much. I'm not entirely bothered by using them at all, because obviously it means that I don't have to worry about. I just don't have to worry about going out and collecting wood, and that for me is a fantastic advantage. And I would risk using something a little bit overpowered to avoid that. So basically, I'm just refining the process of outputting the basic inserters. We need a way to get the basic inserters up to the area that green flasks are going to be produced. The area that green flasks are going to be produced is obviously up here, as you can probably tell. The area under the transport belt is where I have decreed that they will be produced. Something interesting that you probably didn't see there, I did actually change that red long-armed inserter for a long short arm inserter. Effectively what that means is that I was using a long-armed inserter, and that put objects onto the other side of the belt, so the furthest away side of the belt from the inserter. I changed that because there's this mod pack that does just everything, and it basically allows me to have a long-armed inserter that puts items on the close side of the belt, and that for me is fantastic, because it allows us to much more tightly fit in the inserters and also the belt onto just one line, which is a fantastic use of space. I do take this round here because I don't want to be taking items directly off the belt. I want things to buffer a little bit, but also just because it looks a bit cooler, so I'm fine with that. And this is obviously the area that we are going to produce the actual green flasks. I still have no idea how we're going to get them up to the top. Well, of course I have an idea, because I built it. But you know, that's how we're going to roll. Also, something that was very important to me was the fact that we buffered green flask production. That was also pretty darned essential. You know, even though we're probably going to have more green flasks than we'll need, it's still really important that we've got that buffer in place, because You know, I like buffering, and I think buffering is so consistently underused. That was me zooming out, so I'm now working out how on earth are we going to get these flasks up there. And the answer, of course, is big hulking underground belt. But of course, I couldn't put the underground belt output in that same plane, because obviously, there's already an underground belt running under there, so that's just not good enough, I'm afraid. So we're gonna have to go over here, and then we're gonna have to stretch that underground belt up along this way. But then, unfortunately, there's a massive line in copper. There's a massive line of copper ahead, so that's clearly not good enough. So we're gonna have to settle for a hybrid sort of system where we just curve it round. I know 2 corners there is really quite atrocious, but you know what, I'm honestly not too concerned by 2 corners. I mean, they're only supplying flasks anyway. That's something I can live with. I decided that I didn't like the look of that output of flasks, so I changed it around a bit, and now we've got a much more consistent looking system, which I'm quite happy with, actually. And then now we're just into the process of just refining what we actually have. Obviously, I realized that at this point we didn't actually have enough basic circuit boards coming in to supply a constant amount, or to produce a constant amount of basic inserters. So I thought, yep, screw it, let's build another entire copper production area. What am I talking about? Another entire basic circuit production area, because obviously we could fit the entire production of a basic circuit into a very, very small area. So I thought, you know what, screw that, let's try and do that again. And you know what, it's great. I mean, it's great that we can actually do this, because, you know, obviously replicators mean that we don't have to be constantly filling up with wood. That is the greatest gift, I think, ever. It is very, very good indeed. So obviously we're going for an almost identical image of what is happening to the north of this. You can just about see the other production area up there. But yeah, we're just gonna copy it pretty much the same, and we're gonna introduce some buffering, because of course we actually do want to buffer. Because who on earth doesn't buffer? Buffering is just the way forward as far as I'm concerned, and I'm embarrassed that I forgot it in the first basic circuit production area. So that is something that clearly has to change. But everything seems to be flowing smoothly, which is really, really nice. It's good to see that it actually works, and it's a really good endorsement of the mod pack when things actually do work. Is it at this moment that I realize buffering is important? Do I have a little stop and think about what I should do? Yeah, I think this is me thinking that buffering should be important. Yeah, come on, old potato, just get the buffers out, buffer it. I know I'm thinking about it. I know I am thinking about it in the past in the past world. But yeah, we are producing almost constant amounts of green circuits, which is very, very nice indeed, because green circuits are the next level of research, and the next level of research is pretty important for us advancing the game, so to speak. Just checking out the ammo over there. I don't bump up iron production in this episode, I don't think so. Ah, I see what I do. I bump up the level of assembly machine. That's probably a pretty good idea. Here we go. Here we go. Finally, I've come to my senses. I've realized that we do actually need to buffer this, because otherwise it's just gonna be not good. So I actually do buffer it, and now we are actually producing basic circuits, and they fill both sides of the belt, so that is fantastic. So we're being really, really efficient with our use of space, and that is something that I am always a great proponent of. You know, if we can actually use our space wisely, then that is all for the better as far as I'm concerned. That is great. We're gonna go around and collect some rare earth. That is a lot of rare earth, and so I decided we don't need this much rare earth. Let's put it back, because goodness me, that is a lot of rare earth. And furnaces, because obviously we're going to need a much more consistent flow of basic process materials. And when I say basic process materials, I effectively mean iron plates and copper plates. We don't really have the production of iron and copper plates that we need, so you know what, let's get some more. We need more. Let's get more. We're gonna keep the same system of buffering, because because we actually really like that system, and I think it's really cool. It works very well in my opinion, and it's something that I would definitely consider taking on in other Factorio series. It's worked so well that I would definitely do it again. That's what I mean to say by that. Obviously we're producing some nice little electric poles now, which means that, darn, yeah, wow, we are going to be producing iron at a ferocious rate. I doubt that our raw iron input is going to be able to keep up with the amount that we're producing. But we're probably going to have to worry about that in a future episode, because we're coming to the end of this one. And power I think is potentially a little bit of a problem, but I think it should be fine for now. I mean, we've got a lot of those engines, and they seem to be fine. But yeah, this is the green production area for the flasks, and so yeah, that's pretty much it. I did like the actual the use of this I don't know what you call it, a separator perhaps, when it stops one of the lines of iron getting through. Yeah, as I say, this is just refining the sort of existing process that we've already got, upgrading the remainder of the assembly machines, and beefing up this area so it actually produces basic circuits at a faster rate. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my name's been Potato. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!